Welcome to my podcast. I'm your host, Amy, and I am so excited to kick off our fall season of podcasts. We have had the summer off. It's been a great summer. My kids have grown like weeds. They're 8 years old. We've had lots of adventures, lots of pool time, lots of fun time. I'm in the real estate business. We've had an active real estate market, but I'm always excited to head into fourth quarter. I call September fourth quarter. Technically, it's not, but I love to hit the the restart button and go, okay, now I got to hone in. I got 4 months left of this year. And I always love that because I'm a fourth quarter person. Okay, maybe I'm not where I thought I would be this year. Maybe things aren't where I thought that they would be. It gives me the ability to sit there and evaluate it and go, but here's where I'm going. I'm going to focus in. And I know that as I focus in and I put action behind what I'm doing, that everything starts to change. So that's my mantra. But I started to think about the whole concept, you are more. And I say that all the time. And I speak that kind of stuff all the time. You're more, you're more. But I realized that I never have probably really explained the basis of you are more. The reason I feel like you're more is because you possess a spirit. You're a body, a soul, and a spirit, right? You're a triune person. You're a three-part person. And it's your spirit that gives you the ability to be more. It's your spirit that gives you the ability to overcome. It's your spirit that gives you the ability to see things in a different way. It's your spirit that gives you that. So when I say you are more, it's because you are not just a human being walking around without any kind of a guidance. I'm a Christian, and so I know I've got a kingdom connection. I've got a hookup from the Most High, right? And because I have that, it gives me the ability to overcome in situations. Because I have that, it gives me the ability to see things in a different way. And so I was thinking about so many people I know are walking through difficult, challenging times, and not to make light of them at all, because I'm not. They really are challenged, right? Our world is in turmoil. But thinking about that, I started to think about how uh, the Bible says that all things are working for your good. That which is meant for your evil, he's turning for your good, right? And so if you really believe that, and I really do believe that all things are working for my good, that which is meant to maybe take me off course, that which is meant for destruction, that which is meant, right? It's all going to work for my good. That which is meant for my evil, he's turning for my good. And I was thinking about how some of the most difficult days and the difficult things in our life um, are actually a setup for something greater. And it's hard to dig in when you've got discouragement settling heavy on your heart. It's hard to dig in and to see that changing and see the future and see bright vision and bright hope when you're in the midst, when you're walking through the physical issues, when you're walking through the financial issues, when you're walking through the divorce issues. It's hard to see your way through. It's hard to have the vision to move forward. And the other day, I would just flipped open my Bible again, and I was looking at Joshua, and Joshua is such an interesting chapter. It's such an interesting. I love this book because so much of it starts out Joshua. I'll just read it to you because I just think I think it's always just a good right. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, Moses, my servant, is dead. So now arise, take his place, go over this Jordan and all this people into the land which I'm giving them, the Israelites. Every place upon which the sole of your foot shall tread, I have given to you. As I promised with Moses, so shall I be with you. As I was with Moses, so shall I be with you. I'll not fail you. I'll not forsake you. Be strong, confident, and of good courage, for you shall cause this people to inherit the land. Only be strong and very courageous. And so I was just thinking about how God sets us up, and it doesn't even look like we're winning. And so God says to Joshua, "Be strong and courageous. Your leader, your mentor, your person that you relied on, who's led everything faithfully. One of the only person that ever saw the face of God, I believe, was Moses, and he's gone. Now you take over and go and possess the land." And I think to myself that if you know God, if you have him living on the inside, because it says that he dwells in our heart, right? He dwells. Like he will give you supernatural strategy to overcome. He will give you supernatural vision. He will give you the ability to see things in a different light. And all of it is wrapped with be of good courage. That must mean I'm going to deal with fear. Be of good courage. Every place that the sole of your foot is gone, I will give to you. Be of good courage. Fear not. Be of good courage. Fear not. Be of good courage. And it makes me go, "Oh, yeah, I relate to Joshua. I relate. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm fearful. Oh, my leader's gone. Oh, I'm just out here doing this myself. Oh, I don't have a map. I don't have a roadway. Oh, I get that." So I was reading down farther and I thought that this was so interesting. I thought, God, you are the God of the comeback. You are the God of the setup. You are the God that it can look like all things are awful and all things are over, and it is not over. And so I was reading this in Joshua, and it's in Joshua 8. And I'm just gonna tell you, and Joshua and all Israel pretended to be beaten by them, and they fled towards the wilderness. So Joshua leads the Israelites in a great victory, and then they head into the city of Ai, and they literally lose. They literally get their booties handed to them, so to speak, right? They suffer massive failure, massive defeat. And then the people start like, "What the heck? Who is this Joshua? Maybe you're not this." You've been there. You have circumstances in your life where you've suffered defeat and you've had people like, "Oh, I didn't know you. I didn't think you'd have the ability to do it anyway. Oh, I didn't think you'd get back up. I knew you weren't much more than that." You've had those things. I think it's so interesting, okay? So Joshua, the Lord gives Joshua a strategy. He says, "Hey, call all the people." And they basically set an ambush. The Lord said to Joshua, so all the people in Ai were called together to pursue them, and Joshua and all Israel pretended to be beaten by them and fled towards the wilderness. So all the people in Ai called together to pursue them, and they pursued Joshua and were drawn away from the city. Not a man was left in Ai or Bethel who did not go out after Israel. Leaving the city open, they pursued. Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Stretch out the javelin that is in your hand towards Ai, for I will give it into your hand." So Joshua stretched out the javelin in his hand towards the city. The men in the ambush arose quickly out of their place and ran when he stretched out his hand, and they entered the city and took it, and then hasted it and set it afire. When the men of Ai looked back, behold, the smoke of the city went up to the heavens, and they had no power to flee this way or that way. Then the Israelites who fled to the wilderness turned back upon their pursuers. Right? He gave them total victory. But I thought that was so interesting. And Joshua and all of Israel pretended to be beaten by them and fled to the wilderness. They pretended. Okay. So they go to the hand, they suffer great defeat. They have great victory. Then they go and they have a great defeat. And they're like, what the heck? And maybe you've had a lot of mountaintop experiences. Maybe you're used to winning. Maybe you're used to success. And all of a sudden you're like, man, I feel like I feel victim. I feel like I can't change the circumstance. I feel like this thing happened to me. And all of the I feel like there's not a way for me to change this. There's things that have happened to me that I have to respond to now, that it causes me to feel like a victim. There are things happening that I have to pivot and change, and I feel like I'm not winning. I feel that you can be walking through a dark night in your soul where you look around and you don't have hope for your future. You don't see you don't see a bright light at the end. You don't see anything other than drudgery in front of you because you've been walking in it and you are so thin. Well, here's the reality. In those seasons, the only way up is to encourage ourselves. Guys, at the end of the day, everything comes back to just your walk. It comes back to you. It is a lonely path, right? And you have to be the one that encourages yourself. Encourage yourself, right? Rehearse your victories. Rehearse all the things, those stones of remembrance, those times where, oh yeah, oh yeah, he saved me here. He was faithful there. Okay. But look at this. This was a huge setup. So they suffered loss from the city of Ai. They suffered loss. God gives them a strategy to pretend like they've been beaten. I think that is so funny. They pretended to be beaten by them. It looked like they were failing, right? And all of a sudden, all it was a strategy. When the enemy wasn't looking and they had their focus on the wrong thing, they literally went in and took it all and possessed everything. Someone needs to hear that. Someone feels like they're losing out there. Someone feels like they're in a battle that they can't win. And I'm telling you, it is a setup for you to go to a different level. It is a setup for you to walk in something new. It is a setup to bring you in front of the people that are supposed to be in your future. It is a setup to a new season. You have to hear that. It is a setup to bring you into a new season if you will possess it correctly. Here's the pitfall: you have to stay out of despair, discouragement, and bitterness. You have to stay out of cynicism. All those things that try to pull your flesh into this and to pull you one direction and take your focus and take your eye off the prize. You have to tell them all to go to hell, and you cannot afford to give place to those thoughts. If you sit in your feelings, you will destroy your very future because you sat in your feelings. Those are hard truths to say because the only way out of feelings is to act your way out of feelings. Feelings don't just naturally go away. You have to act your way out of feelings. You have to do something. You have to do something. It's the only way out of feeling those ways. So when Joshua and those guys are sitting there, they're defeated, they're discouraged, and all of a sudden there's a plan that comes forward. Hey, let's go do an ambush. Let's go fake them out. Okay, they didn't quit. They did not quit. Guys, do you hear me? They didn't quit. They just got the ones that they suffered the biggest defeat at AI. They did not quit. They said, I just got this handed to me. This just fell apart for me. I just lost my job. My marriage is falling apart. I just. What did they do? They had divine strategy come their way. They took action. Oh, do the ambush. So here's the thing. It looked like they were losing. It looked like that it was all was gone, all was hopeless. No, it was a setup for them to go, okay, here we go. And then they took their javelin and pointed in the direction of the city. All the men ran towards it, and the city was left wide open. The city was left wide open for them to possess. Guys, everything in your life is about possessing. God cares about land. He cares about all that stuff. But everything is about possessing your promise. Your promise. Do this for me. Close your eyes. See a vision of what you've always seen in your entire life. There has been something your entire life that you've always known that you're on this earth to do. You've always seen yourself doing something. Most likely, for most people, they are not living in that. It's something that's afar. It's something that's out there. Think about it. Close your eyes. Imagine. You see it, don't you? The vision that you've had your entire life. It calls to you when you're in your bed and you're in a discouraged place or when you're in a place of defeat. It comes before you, doesn't it? For some of you, you've just put the covers over it and said, it'll never be. This is my lot in life and it'll never be. I have good news for you. That discouragement, that loss is working for your good. It is building in you something that you literally could not possess any other way than through the fire. I have a dear friend who says to me, Amy, sometimes when you walk through the fire, sometimes those are appointed to you. And no one likes to walk through trials and no one likes to walk through hardship. But you can handle an appointment that is all working for your good. So sometimes it's a constant flip of the narrative. It's all working for my good. Because the Bible, again, I'm going back to this. Everything is about, it looks like death and then there's resurrection. It looks like death and then there's resurrection. It looks like death and then there's resurrection. The same is true for your life. The same is true for your life. And the closer you get to walking in what you're called to walk into, the closer you get to the line that turns everything, to the mark, to the your business actually breaking forth, to your career going to a different level, to your relationships going to a level, maybe to maybe to your dreams coming forth of having children. The closer you get to that line, if you've had to fight for it, the battle is intense. And you should look at the intensity of the battle and say, wow, because the intensity of the battle determines how great the other side of it is. If there was nothing to fight you for, you wouldn't be being fought. If there was not great victory over on the other side of you, there wasn't a great business you were starting, there wasn't a new level you were going to in your life, there wasn't a new relationship coming to you, there wasn't a different level of health for you, the fight would not be so great. The fight is not about where you are, it's about where you're going. So look at your battles and look at them differently. The battle is not about where you're at. Because if the battle was about where you're at, it wouldn't make sense. The battle would be like, that seems crazy. The battle is about where you are going. The battle is about what you carry. So the key thing is you have to move forward. You have to keep going. And I love I love this when I was like, God just gives you strategies. It appeared that they were beaten. They pretended, and God brought them great victory. They laid down. They suffered victory. He gave them strategy and then said, go and possess. And they have possessed everything that was in that city, right? They took it all. Guys, Here is the thing, your dream, your desire is going to have to be something you fight for. It doesn't just come into your hands. You have to go possess it. It does not just naturally walk into your life and say, "Oh, I'm here. I'm here to cater to you." No, it's not that. It is one of action. It is one of progressive steps. It is one that I look at this when it says, Joshua, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now go and possess this land. Oh, by the way, fear not. By the way, be strong and courageous. Be strong and courageous for you to enter into a new dimension in your life, which, let's face it, everyone wants to go to a different level. For those who say, I'm completely content and happy where I'm at, I actually don't believe that. I think that you're fearful. I think you don't even understand the possibilities that exist for you. We are on this earth. We're created to grow. It's our very nature is growth and expansion. That's how we are. That's how we're created to grow and to expand, to possess. So when you're not possessing the things that you want to possess in your life, you have to push hard. It's not any different than when, someone's birthing a child. That labor is intense, for some near the brink of death, to push out that promise, to push out that baby, to deliver that, to bring forth that promise. And so there's times where you have to press so hard, and it's mostly that pressing time is and that time you have to not give into discouragement, not give into bitterness, not become cynical, is at the point of probably one of your greatest defeats. Because it feels to me every chapter in my life where I've gone to a different level, it's been on the heels of what could look like defeat. It's been on the heels of what could look like setback. It's been on the heels of things that have brought discouragement. But if you simply just do not quit, your apparent setback truly is a setup to possess. Your setback is working for you. It's aligning things. It's bringing the right people into your life. It's eliminating the wrong people. It's bringing everything that you have. And you always have to know this. When you came onto this earth, you are complete with everything that you need to fulfill all that you were supposed to do. Every gift you need, now you might need to hone them, but you have on the inside what you need to possess what you're called to possess. But two things. You have to fear not and be strong and courageous. Very few people will ever see the desires of their heart manifest on this earth. And it's because of these things. They settle back, they draw back, they get defeated, and they think, well, I guess it just wasn't meant to be. When in reality, that place of defeat wasn't meant to be your settling ground, it was meant to be your launching pad. That place of defeat was not meant to be where you're supposed to stay. Many stay there though, because what it requires of you to get up, shake your, get the whatever, put your shoulders back, hold your head high and put your hand to the plow again, put your hand back to the activity again, takes so much courage and so much strength. It especially takes so much strength when your emotions are telling you just quit, just give up. It's over. Don't do anymore. Just forget it. Just go back to your normal life. Go back to your easy life. Go back to your life that you can count on. Guys, here's the thing. There's no real thrill in that at the end of the day. And if you think about things, I've said this many times. If you've heard this podcast, you've heard me say it. Like when I look at things, I always look at things in the worst case scenario. Can I live with worst case? And if I can live with it, I move forward when I'm making decisions. But here's what I know. Worst case scenario for me is that I would not fulfill what I'm called on this earth to fulfill. And that is something that I cannot live with. So every day I'm pushing forward. Sometimes I do it afraid. Sometimes I do it alone. Sometimes I do it with a lot of courage. Sometimes I do it with my knees shaking. Sometimes my voice is shaking. Sometimes my heart rate's beating so fast. Sometimes, but here's what I know. I'm inching by inch by inch by inch. I'm moving closer and closer and closer to walking in all that I'm supposed to be and do on this earth. Guys, and that is what it takes. You're going to have to walk forward in courage, courage, courage. And guess what? You're going to have to encourage yourself in it. You're going to have to be the one that encourages. You're going to have to be the one that steps forward in action. You're going to have to be the one that gets up earlier than you've been getting up. You're the one that's going to have to do what it takes to move the needle. And when you do that, the waters do part. Think about this. Strategy does come. So what looks like defeat, launch them into massive victory. Think about that. What looks like defeat in your life is setting you up for something else. What looks like defeat and failure maybe in a marriage is setting you up for a future beyond belief. What looks like defeat and failure in a business means a restructuring that literally can launch you and sustain generations. What looks like a failure in your health is maybe setting you up to have a long, long life. Guys, here's the thing. It's all working for your good. If you will adapt that with and sing that and say that over every situation in your life and flip the narrative, I promise you that you will start to see the path unfold as you take step by step. As thou, there's a favorite scripture of mine, and it's as thou goest, step by step by step. I will open up, not you, you don't have to do it. He will open up the way before you. So be blessed. Know you're created for more. Know where you're living for most people is not where you're called to live at because he's always got growth. He's always got greater influence opportunities for you. He's always got more for you. So sit down, listen to your heart. Listen to where your heart wants to go. Listen to where your vision really is at. And don't let the circumstances of this life dictate what you believe you can conceive and achieve. Don't let it. Focus on where you want to go. Put the vision before you. And one thing, do not, do not, do not, do not quit. Keep walking. Do not quit because you truly are more. Thanks for listening to this podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please share it out. I would love for this to be shared out on multiple different platforms. So I appreciate you, and we will be back with more things to inspire you, more content to give you more focus for your future, to move you forward to that next level. And as always, you are more.